In today's tutorial, I'm going to be drawing this fun little graffiti letter Q. That tail can be a little bit tricky, but don't worry. I'm going to break it down into easy to follow steps, so even if you're a beginner, you can follow along. And these individual letters, they're a great way to practice. It's a quick little easy drawing session that you can start building a daily habit, and it's a lot of fun. And you get to practice using your markers and creating your backgrounds and using your different colors. So many different benefits to doing a drawing like this. If we haven't met yet, I'm Rashonda and I am the creator of this YouTube channel. And I love making videos for beginners just like you. So let's go on over to the art studio and get started.
All right, here we go. Today I'm going to be drawing a graffiti letter Q. I had a couple requests for this. So I think what throws people off with the Q is the little hook-de-doo that's on it. So there's a lot of different ways you can draw this. So we'll just start by making kind of a guideline. So when you're doing your letters, your guideline is really just a one-line drawing, like a single thickness drawing of your letter. So this does a few things. It gets you over the fact that you're just staring at a blank piece of paper, which we refer to as the blank page syndrome. And it's a real thing. Some people get completely frozen when they're staring at that blank piece of paper and they don't know how to get started, and you get this feeling like everything has to be perfect. It's like you got to do it all in one shot, which you don't. So we're going to sketch this all out. Now, I've seen a lot of drawing videos and art videos, mostly drawing. I guess it just applies to drawing, but where they just say, okay, start over here and then come down a little bit and draw this thing. And that, for me, that feels very intimidating. I like to have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing before I get started making my actual marks. So I don't know about you, but those videos of just starting, I don't even know how to describe it really. It's like you're just putting marks on paper and guessing where they need to be. And that feels really hard and intimidating to me. So I like to start with some basic guidelines of where everything's going to go. And then you can adjust. And I'm just keeping my lines light and sketchy. And just refining it as I go. This little part in the middle, we can do something a little more interesting with that. When you're making your letters, if you can curve your lines, vary the thickness. It says kind of a teardrop shape down here. We could even go a little more, like kind of offset a little bit instead of having it come out more at an angle instead of just straight up. So there's a lot of different ways that you can draw your letters. When I make these videos, my hope is really just to encourage you and inspire you to want to make some of your own drawings. Not necessarily to follow it exactly how I'm doing, but more just to give you some ideas, give you a starting point. So the next step after we get the letter drawn out, now we want to do our outline. This can also be referred to as inking your drawing. We're just going to go right over top the pencil lines. And just ignore anything that you don't want to keep in your drawing. And of course, if you're not happy with your drawing at this point, you want to keep working on it. Get it to where you like how it looks. And then, so this is a little bit of kind of a bubble letter type drawing, a little mix between a bubble letter and a block letter, I guess I would refer to this as. Because it's the regular shape of it, of the letter itself, that's more of a bubble letter style. And then we have this little tail piece that is more like a block style. I wanted to show you how you can kind of mix it up a little bit. You don't have to keep your letters all completely rounded or completely squared. You can mix it up however you want. Have fun with it. I think thinking I might do the background black. So I am going to fill that in with black. And then I'm going to add some thickness to the letter. I like my outlines to be pretty big. I like nice, bold black outlines on everything. That's just a personal preference. If you don't like that, you can do yours however you want. And I'm going to widen it a little bit more at the bottom and on that left-hand side. And I'm just going to go over this a little bit more to balance it out. And you can make this as thick as you want. You can make it thin. You could use something besides black. However you want your letter to look. Okay. I'm not going to get too crazy with this. I do want to make some videos in the future of more of a series of like a letter or some kind of drawing. I like to do these 7-day challenges where every day of the week I pick a theme and I stick with it for the entire week. So, for example, I could do the letter Q and do a bunch of letter Qs, 7 of them for the week. And what I do is with each one, I try to do something different. So that might be using different colors. It could be doing the letter itself different. It could be a combination of those things. And I like doing those because it gets me out of my comfort zone, because it would be really boring to do the same thing over and over again. So I'm always trying to find something different with each one and push myself a little bit. You know, do the background different, do the color different, do the letter style different. So I'm thinking about making a video. I've never made a video of one of those challenges, but I thought it might be interesting or helpful if you could see that process of taking one simple drawing idea and changing it up and doing something different with it. And you could see that process of how you take an idea and make it your own. So I'm just going to fill in this whole letter with this lighter green. And then I'm going to use a darker green when this dries. To add some dark spots on it. Try not to fling the card across the desk. And then for the background, I'm going to use this, it's called light orange. And I'm going to, it's kind of like this pinkish orange color. It's not something I use very often, I can tell you that, but I like this color against the green. I used this combination before, and I don't know how I ever picked it because they're not really something that goes together naturally. It's not something I would have thought that I would have picked out, but I did, and I kind of like the way it looks together, so and that's how I picked this color combination. So what I'm going to do is, excuse me, I'm just going to add, I call this a halo. I don't know if there's a technical name for it, but I'm just going on the outside of the letter and adding some color. And then I'll just do some of these little bubbles, these little, I don't know what I think they're supposed to be like little paint bubbles, like spray paint. Just put these around in the background. And then maybe we'll do some little paint drips. There's some go-to backgrounds you can use with your lettering if you're doing it in a graffiti style. And your letters don't have to be graffiti style letters. You could do any kind of letter style. Make them a little more fancy, a little more whimsical. I love doing letters on my artwork. I think they're really fun. And I like doing these single letters just to play around with different styles and just a quick drawing. And then I'm going to fill the rest of the background in black. I really like the combination of the green with this orange color and then the black background. And I don't want to get too carried away with this, but I want there to be a little bit of color. Leave that for now and can decide later. So now I want to do some darker areas on the letter. And these are the Ohuhu Honolulu Bee. And I bought these thinking I would use the fine point on them. And I really don't. I end up using the brush. The markers, most of the markers that I have are from a long time ago. And there really wasn't a lot of brush tip markers outside of Copic and that I have ever seen anyway at that time. And I didn't have the budget for Copic. So I recently got some brush markers, some Ohuhu markers, and I had a little bit of trouble getting used to it. because the more pressure you put on it, the bigger your line gets. And I like to do a lot of my work on artist trading cards, so it was kind of hard getting used to it. So I bought these with the fine tip, and I find myself using the brush tip more. So the good news is that means I'm getting used to it, which is good. So now what I want to do is with my Jelly Roll pen, I want to add some white in here. And I think I might overlap this a little bit. I'm doing this just random. I'm not really planning it out too much. Just looking around, deciding where to put things as I go. And you could try to plan it out a little bit more. I like the stuff to be more random, because then you don't have to try to make everything look perfect. Just let it unfold as you're going. And you could decide to put more. You could do some different colored green, something in between the two. That would probably look nice. You could always go back in and darken up this line a little bit. I feel like this line's getting lost. So I'm going to go over that one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and do the black in a time lapse real quick. And then I'll be back with you when I have that done, and we'll wrap this up. So I got the black all filled in, and I was a little bit nervous about it maybe getting a little streaky, but that Ohuhu black worked really well. And then I think I want to add a few little spots with this other green. See how that looks. Okay, so this graffiti letter Q is all done. And hopefully you enjoyed this video and you feel inspired to do some of your own artwork. And I wanted to mention what I do my drawings on artist trading cards quite a bit. So what I do is take a marker pad and cut it down into this artist trading card size because it speeds things up, makes it a little quicker, and then I put these in my portfolio, which I am going to do a video very soon of what that is because I mention it a lot and I've had a few people ask if I could make a video of that. So I'm going to work on doing that. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video and if you want to learn more about making graffiti art, I will put a link to the freebie in the description. And I will see you in the next video. Happy creating!
That's it for today's video. I sure do hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you feel inspired to create some of your own artwork. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching the whole video. And if you enjoyed it, I would love if you could give it a like and also subscribe if you want to get notified of future videos. And if you check out that description box, there is a link in there to a free beginner's guide to drawing graffiti. So check that out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.